All right, in this video, I'm gonna go over one of the most important things that is keeping you broke, and also why it is a lot easier to make a shit ton of money online than what you really think. But before we jump in, I do want to preference two things. First of all, I am a little bit sick, so excuse me if my voice is a little bit off. I'm trying to keep up the consistency and give you guys value. Second thing is I'm mainly talking about making money online. So if you don't know who I am, I have countless videos both on Instagram and on YouTube walking through my entire journey from basically having zero money to making over 30K plus a month. So you know that I'm not speaking out of my ass. With that being said, there are a couple principles and a couple more niche-based things that I do want to talk about within this video that we can kind of break down. So hopefully you guys get a bunch of value out of this. However, you have to make sure to watch the video in its entirety because you're not going to get the value out of it if you're just here for the quick 2 to 3 minutes. I will be breaking down things very deeply and in depth. So make sure to watch the entire thing because it will make sense. If you just apply what I teach you in this video, you will walk away in the next few weeks and make more money. Trust me, just watch the video and take action on the principles that I teach you in this. Now, with that being said, there is one very, very important thing that I do want to break down and something that I have struggled with and something that I see a lot of people come and ask me for when it actually comes to making money online. Now, if you guys don't know, basically what I do is I run some sort of AI agency, basically where we just help local businesses with implementations of AI or just simple lead generation, whatever, but we just use AI to fulfill. So we keep things very, very simple. We just get them a tangible result and we get paid in proportion to the results that we actually bring them, right? So if we make a business $20,000, then we're probably gonna get paid 5 to 10,000 out of that, the 20 that we make them, right? So it's very easy, very digestible, easy to break down. If you want to learn how to do this for yourself, you can book a call down below. I do coach people one-on-one. No course, none of that, just like actual coaching, but that's besides the point. Let's actually jump into what's important. Excuse me for going on a tangent, but here's the thing. What I see that a lot of people kind of come to me with is that they worry about all the fulfillment, they worry about all these things that are gonna happen when they sign a client or when they get a customer. But what most people don't really realize is none of that really matters until you actually sign somebody. And even when you sign somebody, it doesn't really matter either because the feedback you're gonna get from your clients and your customers are gonna be the most important based on how to actually fulfill moving forward. And you're never going to understand these things until you actually get clients, which means the most important thing to make money online is to actually focus on not the fulfillment, but focus on how to get the clients. And what does that come down to? Well, it really comes down to sales and it comes down to marketing. If you have used these two things in place, everything else can be outsourced or learned based off of feedback from customers, which means that you should be putting basically all your energy into those two main things if you want to make a shit ton of money online. So the reason why you're not making any money is because you're probably focusing on the fulfillment, how to do the skill, or any of those types of things, when in reality, that is not what's actually going to put money in your bank account. What is really putting money in your bank account is signing clients. When you sign clients, they're gonna pay you, right? So if you're not focusing on the skill sets and the actions needed in place for you to actually get clients, then what you're doing is you're just making your situation way harder. I was dealing with this for such a long time because I tried to do everything that I could to kind of avoid having sales calls and stuff like that back in the day. But it wasn't until I really just dealt with it, emphasized it, and got good at the skills of having sales calls and dealing with sales and marketing. That was the first time that I really started making over $10,000 every single month. So it's like, I'm out here trying to do everything that I can to just avoid the main thing that I really have to do to get customers. And that's probably what you're going through yourself. So if you're not doing what you can do to actually get good at sales or get good at marketing or both, then you're just basically prolonging the situation. You're just dragging it out. Otherwise, if you just focus on sales and marketing, you'll get money right away, and then you can or try to do and get better at the fulfillment, the skill set of actually keeping these customers and so on, right? But you're going to have to get new customers anyway, so you might as well focus on what is really going to actually get them in through the door in the first place, right? And that is probably the number one thing as to why you're not making money, but it's also one of the most important things to realize, because once you actually understand this and once you get good at it, you'll realize that making a shit ton of money is actually so fucking easy, because all you really have to do is market and then sell or learn sales or sell to that market that you've just marketed to, right? It sounds stupidly simple, and it really is, but you obviously have to get good at those skills as well. I'm not telling you that sales is gonna come overnight, but it is a pretty simple and easy skill to learn as long as you have some sort of framework. And once you have that framework, it's going to be way easier to just execute. Then it's just nuance, tips and tricks and things like that. But if you don't even know the framework of how to sell within your market, then you're going to have a hard time, right? I see a lot of people that I coach, what they struggle with is not really the marketing, it's not doing the AI or doing the fulfillment or whatnot, because let's be real, all that shit is actually very, very easy and it doesn't take more than a couple hours to learn. But what is the hard part for them, everybody's like, oh, I'm struggling to get clients. Even they're running ads, spending $2,000-$3,000 a month just to get ads, and they get a bunch of leads in through the door, but they don't know what to do with those leads because they don't understand how the sales process actually works. And until you realize this, you're gonna probably have a hard time to actually sell. So get good at understanding the sales process, understand how the framework works, and at that point you should have a way easier time. So to not just leave you with that in this video, obviously this is kind of what I talked about. I do want to go a little bit deeper in depth and also break down what actually you can do here out of this. I don't want to just tell you, oh, this is just a principle and then go and figure it out. I'm going to tell you how the sales process should work as well. So obviously it is a little bit nuanced depending on the market that you're in, the situation, who you're selling to, and so on. But I'll just kind of give you a couple of examples. If you're kind of doing the same thing as me, usually you talk to a lot of business owners, right? If that's the case, business owners really do not care too much about feelings and shit like that, like you would your normal B2C type of prospects, your biz op customers and so on. They are a little bit more in their fields, kind of rock bottom, so on and so on. Business owners, they don't really care. What they care about is seeing a logical, positive ROI. If you can do that in a good way and sound like you're the professional within what you do, then they're going to be willing to pay you, right? So for them, you obviously still have to build some sort of gap. This is kind of the overall framework of how sales work, is you have your customer, you have their desired result, and you want to build this gap in between so that they understand they're right here now as a customer / business owner. They want to be here. Your offer is basically going to be the bridge between this gap and the solution for them to go from here to here. That's essentially just very easily broken down how a framework of sales works. So your job as a salesperson, or basically to get a sale, you have to build up this gap and present your offer as the solution to their problem, right? Now, obviously, like I talked about, it is a little bit different depending on who you're talking to. If you're talking to a business owner, you kind of want to break down numbers, be a little bit more logical, call them out for their bullshit if they're just like not tracking things correctly. I'll give you a great example. If somebody doesn't even know how much their average order value is, how many customers they get per week, per month, blah, 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 you kind of have to call them out on this and be like, okay, but if you don't really know the numbers properly, then that's probably a good reason as to why you're not where you want to be. Would you agree or disagree, right? Obviously, they're going to agree. When it comes to more, depending again on what you sell, but let's just say you sell some sort of mentorship, some trading, whatever it might be, then it's going to be more feelings based, right? So people are kind of going to be in a position where they want to make more money. Maybe the person I'm talking to right now, right? You're kind of in a position where you want to make more money. You're not satisfied with where you're at. You're going to want to actually put in work, get the right help, and get to where you want to be, right? But it's going to be more down to you actually being determined and doing what you need with the right guidance rather than just looking at numbers, right? So for somebody like that, it's obviously going to be to build more of a gap and actually help them with your solution, bridge this gap within a constructive way, I guess you want to put it, and make them understand that nothing's going to change until they actually decide to change something. And your help is the change that they need to get from here to here. So if you feel like that's you, again, you can book a call down below and I'm going to walk you through it so I can actually help you. But that's overall how a sales process should work. Now, you have to get good at that. Obviously, it's not going to happen overnight. Great ways to do it. What I did when I kind of started with all this, I literally just had my computer and I would download, this is like way back in the day, back in like 2020, 2021, when ChatGPT just got announced. I literally downloaded a Chrome extension that let me hold space so I could talk to ChatGPT, because back in that day you were just not able to do that. Nowadays I know they have their own buttons so you can just talk with it. But I would have a Chrome extension downloaded so I can hold space and just talk straight to ChatGPT, and I would basically just practice my sales calls back and forth. So I would just prompt a simple chat with ChatGPT, just telling him, yo, let's role play. You're a customer, I'm a salesperson, let's go back and forth, and I'll try to get good. And that I just did that for hours and hours a day while actually selling as well, getting good at sales just with AI, chatting back and forth. So it was pretty crazy, and then obviously got good after a while, and then you could apply it. So you'll have to put in the hours, put in the reps, but that is probably the number one thing that's tremendously just going to help you make a shit ton of more money, is just get good at sales. You can speak to any customers, you can speak to pretty much everybody, and obviously blend that in with the marketing side of things, because marketing is really just sales before actually having the conversation. So you just have to tap into the right attributes of the ICP that you have. And those are the two main things you really have to get good at to make a shit ton of money. So stop focusing on the fulfillment, stop focusing on the BS, stop focusing on all these things that you know are not important. Bro, your logo, your this, your that. It's like, bro, nobody cares. Get good at sales, get good at marketing, and you can literally close on anybody. I hope that helps. If there's anything you guys need, you can always shoot me a message on Instagram as well. I'm happy to help. I post content on there as well, just talking through my journey, pretty much all the things, so you guys already know. I know I don't have a big fan base or following, but the people that do watch pretty in depth. So I appreciate you guys. If there's anything else you have in mind, let me know. I'm happy to help. Besides that, catch you guys next time. Take care.